Hey everybody, Randy Patterson here with Boomerosity. And I'm trying to do this intro and I'm still just kind of jonesing from hanging up with talking with the great Ruth Pointer, the Pointer sisters, about a tour they've got coming up with the Commodores and with the Spinners. And wow, what an honor it was and a thrill to talk to this great lady. I mean, the music that has come from her and her sisters, that musical legacy, and she's the remaining sister of that original group. And they're still performing. They don't do a ton of dates, but they still do perform. And they're doing a tour with the Commodores and with the Spinners. And I got to talk to her about that and about her career somewhat. We talked about some of the songs that they're known for and also talked about We Are the World. Remember that? And they had a part in that great song and the legacy of that song. And so, what a blast it was to speak with Ruth Pointer. I'm still just, like I said, I'm just blown away by it. I mispronounced a name from one of the guys in the Commodores. I said Walter King as William King, and my apologies to Mr. King for that. But you'll see what I'm talking about when you're watching the interview. So, if you don't mind, would you please hit subscribe right now? Because I know you're going to love this interview. And then, if you're new to Boomerosity, you'll want to hear all the others. And if you also would hit like on this particular interview, share it with your friends and ask them to do the same thing, to like and to subscribe. It doesn't cost you all anything, but it helps us out tremendously. So without any further ado, here is my first interview with the lovely, talented, iconic, legendary Ruth Pointer. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerosity. Take care. Hello, Ruth.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful now that I finally get to talk with you. So this is a thrill and an honor for me. So thank you for taking the time. I've been jonesing about it ever since I was approached to talk to you. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Where are you dialing in from? California?
No, I live in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. So we're the same time zone. I'm in the Smoky Mountains.
Okay.
Barefoot and everything. I mean,
I'm good too.
well, before we get started to talk about this fun tour you're about to go on, or in the middle of, I guess, I want to thank you for all the years of great music. I mean, my gosh, when I think back on all the great songs that have peppered the soundtrack of my life, the Pointer Sisters are right in there with it, man. And so thank you so much for all those great musical memories and doing what you do. I know it hasn't always been easy, but thank you. As a fan, I greatly appreciate what all you've done musically and how you keep doing it. So thank you very much.
Very welcome. Thank you for enjoying it.
Well, you've been doing this for, gosh, over 50 years. Do you think this career is going to work out for you?
Well, it looks like it has. So I'm very grateful. Yeah.
What has been the biggest changes you've seen over your career, both good and bad? What are the high and low points of that as far as the music business itself?
Well, the I guess the high point I'll go first is artists I think have gotten a lot smarter.
Yes.
And I love seeing that. The artists that have really, I have to say, probably learned from watching us fall down and make mistakes, and they've come up and taken control of their lives
Mhm,
much
mhm.
different than the way we did. So I enjoy seeing that. Um, I mean, I can't think of any downsides other than you know it just there's just so many artists now
Yeah,
out now than the way it was when we were coming along. I can't keep up.
I can't either. I mean, I'm every day my mailbox has got a CD in it or more, and I'm asked to talk to this person, that. Some I passed on, and then I've lived to regret it. So it's like, whoa, I should have talked to him. But
Yeah.
um, and you only have so much time to do it. But gosh, how you guys and you're the remaining original, correct? If I read correctly, and have
Right.
followed correctly. I mean, it's a testament to your stamina and to your drive to keep doing excellent work, I believe. And that's even today with what you're referring to as far as new people coming up and all that, it's hard. I don't think they see the work ethic that's truly necessary to be a artist that whose work is going to far last their lives. That I mean, am I making sense there? I mean, your music's going to be going on long after you've passed, I think, because there's such solid standards. Um, I question the ability of some, not all, but some of the up and comers, um, resilience to do
Yeah,
what you have done. Is that a fair assessment?
absolutely. I agree with you on that. Because I mean, things happen so much faster nowadays. I'm sure because of social media, which we didn't have at that time,
Right.
and everything is so instantaneous. And you know, I want to be famous now. I want to be a billionaire now, and
Yeah.
want to do this now. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, wow, it's going to be a burnout at some point, real quick.
Hmm. Hmm.
The road is definitely not easy. And
Well, and to your point earlier about being smarter about the business, it's a work ethic and being smarter, like
absolutely,
uh,
yeah,
not signing away publishing rights and not
hey,
jumping the first 360 deal and not blowing all your money and
right,
all that.
right.
But well, this tour, tell me about it, man. I have to admit, I'm a lot sad that it's not coming near me, but I'm thrilled to see that you three entities are getting together and bringing some fun to some people. Tell me about it.
Well, it's Pointer Sisters, I think the Spinners, Commodores, and we just sing the songs that have made us known and made people happy over the years, especially the 70s and 80s and maybe a little bit of the 90s.
Hmm.
And that's just what we're doing. It's not like we used to do these tours for like 3 and 4 months stretches with buses and
Hmm.
semi trucks and stages, and that part I'm leaving for the young folks. That
Smart move.
it- it's just like no, no, not doing that. We're just going to sing the songs because, quite frankly, our audiences are diverse and a mixture, of maybe a few young people, maybe a few generation people, but some seniors in there, So um, we have to appeal, and I think that a lot of the stuff that is out now is something that they can't relate to. So we just sing what the audience pretty much is familiar with, our hits, and hopefully make them have some memories. We sure have some memories,
Yeah.
and that's what we're bringing.
Are you finding that I want to make sure I word this correctly with when groups of people coming to your show, not the whole group in, one big audience, but groups within the audience, are you finding that is generational where, grandma's bringing or grandparents bringing the kids and the kids bringing the grandkids, and everybody getting into it? Are you seeing a lot of that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because that's who we are too. I mean, I'm
Well,
singing with my daughter and my granddaughter, and I noticed that some of the other acts too are bringing in family members.
mhm,
Um, so that's something that we can relate to, as an audience to the artist. Uh,
mhm.
it's just quite unique, I think, and we are really enjoying that.
Yeah. Well, this combination of your group, the Commodores and the Spinners, I thought, wow, what a mastermind combination because I mean, you've already done a couple shows together like that. What has been the response? I can only imagine that people were, you guys left with people screaming for more. Am I right?
I would hope so. I mean, I haven't noticed that specifically, but I know one thing, they seem to know the words to the songs and they sing along and that's always so much fun. So much
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now you're friends with these, the guys and the Commodores and the Spinners, are you not?
Well, we're not real close friends because, like I said, back in the day, the tours were so intense,
Hmm.
long. We would run across other artists in passing, maybe at an award show, running through the halls, going to a dressing room, but it's not like we were neighbors and hung out. So I don't know
Right.
them. I don't know them like that. It's not like we have conversations on the phone twice a week, and not like my personal good friends.
Sure. Sure.
Really, really happy to see one another because we know the journey that we're on.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the privilege of interviewing Walter King. Gosh, I guess it's been 12 years ago now. And such a lovely man. Did I say his name wrong? I know several Kings, and my mom's maiden name was a King. So I get all these things. And the guy in the Commodores is it Walter or William?
I'm not sure.
I think it's, anyway, Mr. King. That's
Hmm.
what I'll do. I'll cover that base. Such a wonderful man. He invited me to the show he was doing in Dallas when I lived in Dallas, and those guys were still kicking it out, and had everybody on their feet and all that. And just I'm not, I haven't interviewed anybody from the Spinners, but just knowing the vibe and the spirit that is projected that I see from the stage and such, like I said, I'm jealous of the people that get to see you three together. You three groups. That's got to be just one of the most amazing show. I hope you expand the itinerary so that more people get to take advantage of it, and people like me can be able to see if you're going to be within driving distance of the greater Knoxville area, Knoxville, Tennessee. But I have a question for you because we talked about the generations. The has Do you have a story or two that's a favorite of yours where the tied to one of your hits, a song that you and your sisters did, where maybe a fan told you something, or maybe the story behind a song, one of your hits, that's just a favorite of yours that you would like fans to be aware of?
I guess the one that comes to mind for me was, we aside from the Commodores, we were more familiar with Lionel
Right.
Richie
Mhm.
because Lionel pulled me, Anita, and June in to open for him on his first solo tour.
Mhm.
And we got to be pretty good friends with Lionel. And at the time, Beverly Hills Cop film had been released,
Mhm.
and I wasn't that crazy about that song written by Allie Willis, Neutron Dance. I didn't know what that word really meant. It sounded violent to me, neutron, like a bomb or something.
Right.
And so she said she had written it with my voice in mind, because it had this gospel kind of undertones to it.
Yeah.
And we were on tour with Lionel, and I think it was the last show that we were doing with him. We were on tour with him for about 2 or 3 months, all over the country. And the last show, he came to our dressing room and he said, "Look, I know that Neutron Dance is not in your lineup right now, but you're going to have to sing it." He says, "Because the movie has come out, the song is in the film for the part of the soundtrack, and
Mhm.
people want to really hear it. They're really are liking the song." So we're like, "Okay, Lionel." So we're doing our show, and all of a sudden, the band starts playing the intro to Neutron Dance, that dun 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 dun, and the audience jumped up out of their seats and started rushing the stage, and it really threw me. I almost forgot the words to the song. Oh, God. And at that moment, it occurred to me, I was like, okay, this is what a hit feels like.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. And I never will forget that moment. And Neutron Dance has been in our show ever since that day.
Lesson learned, right? So,
Go ahead singing it now. Yeah.
yeah, I had forgotten until I was doing my research for this call that I'd forgotten that you guys were in the whole makeup of We Are the World. And, it's been all these years later. Of course, we've lost several people, including Michael.
Yeah.
Um, Looking back, are there, how, you see that big accomplishment with that song and the awareness that it created and all that kind of thing. Are there any special feelings for you when you still hear that song today on the radio or maybe humming it to yourself or what have you? What are your thoughts on that particular song?
Well, first of all, that happened at the end of the tour with Lionel as well, because he
Oh,
had to do with the writing of that song. And we were at the AMAs, and that's where they were able to gather all those artists because we were all in one place.
hmm,
And Lionel came to our dressing room and said, "Look, we're going over to A&M Studios. We've written a song, and we want you to come over there after the show, the award show." So it's okay. And me and my sister Anita and June went over there, and we're just thinking, okay, we're gonna sing a song, a new song that's gonna be like a fundraiser for the hungry, and okay. Didn't think much of it. But once we got to the studio and saw who was there, which was everybody that you could think of, it was kind of surreal and overwhelming. And we were all kind of in awe of one another. I remember being in a huddle talking to Tina Turner and Bette Midler and Latoya Jackson and just a girl conversation. And Harry Belafonte was right behind me, and Bob Dylan came walking in the studio. I was like, wow, this is really special. Uh, so now when I see it, I mean, at the time, I guess the magnitude of it wasn't with me at that time until years later when they're talking about it and the documentary came out about it. And of course, I have kids that ask me about it because they've seen the documentary film and they go, "Mom, you were there. You were there, Mom. Oh my God." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was there." And so I think it hit me a little late, the magnitude of how special that was. It only, I guess, in the last few years because there's been a couple of times when they've tried to recapture and do a similar thing, but it ain't like that first one.
nope, nope.
Mm-mm.
Rarely is, isn't it?
Nope, it's not like that one. And when I saw that documentary, I was like, wow,
Yeah,
man, that was really, really a special night. It
yeah,
really.
yeah. It has the. I mean, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. What's in addition to this tour? I know you're on a short time frame here. What else is on your radar in addition to this particular tour with the Commodores and the Spinners?
Well, that's it for us as far as the Commodores and the Spinners, I believe, as far as I know now at this point. Me and my daughter and my granddaughter are booked to perform in South Africa actually next year in April, God's willing. I'm still here. Um, and I'm starting to really slow myself down. I just traveling is really a challenge these days. Nothing like the way it used to be when we first started traveling. You have to be very strategic in your planning, in your packing, because of the security issues ever since 9/11, which we just celebrated the other day.
Yeah,
Um, and it changed the game. Um, so, I mean, back in the day, we just had so much freedom, just run to the gate, no security, you know, take as many bags as you wanted to, no charge,
Yeah.
always to help you with it. We were footloose and fancy free on the road. You just, I mean, it was amazing. And the airplanes really weren't as crowded as they were now.
Yeah.
I
Boy,
remember
no.
space in coach, space for my feet,
Mm.
Um, the airports were so much smaller. Now they're like big malls, they got shopping areas and it's like, it's just so different. And it causes me to, I guess, have a little bit of anxiety when it comes time to travel, unlike the way it used to be for me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I have to be careful not to pack this kind of liquid in my carry-on and this kind of thing in my suitcase because you can't lock your suitcases because they're gonna
Yeah.
come and yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'll do it. I do still enjoy it, but all those kinds of complications that come along with it are the hard things. Getting up on stage and singing and dancing is the fun part,
Yeah. Yeah.
Eddie, putting makeup on, hair, all that. That's the fun stuff. But the preparation is difficult and the traveling is a little challenging. And I'm just not sure I want to keep doing it much longer.
Understood. Well, we fans can tend to be a bit selfish and demanding because we always want to see you, but we forget or don't think of the toll it can take on people, and
Yeah,
it's tough. I know it's tough. So
let's take its toll. I mean, I notice when I'm coming back, especially if I have to travel longer than a couple of hours. I mean, I just came back from doing the big what is it? Love tour in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago at the SoFi. Um, and it's a 5, 6 hour plane ride from me.
mhm.
I mean, I was almost down for a week after that,
Wow. Yeah.
just exhausted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoo, wow. And it's like taking me another week to kind of start to feel my energy back, get back in the
Mhm.
gym, do a little treadmilling and a little training. And like, whoo, I didn't know if that was gonna, really, you know, take me down or what. But yeah, I feel it in my body.
Yeah.
That traveling is it definitely is different as you get older.
Yeah. I know all too well. So
Yeah, it really does. It's like, "Ooh, Lord, something at the altitude? What is it? I don't know."
I
Man.
gotta lay off those Twinkies or something, man. Well, final question for you, and I know you probably get asked this a lot, and I don't mean it to be macabre or anything like that, but you've experienced a lot of changes in life, and people that we have no longer have in our lives, and you've experienced that too, and ups and downs and all that. When you step off of the great tour bus of life up at the great gig in the sky, to borrow a line from Pink Floyd, what do you hope your legacy is, and how do you want to be remembered? Not just the Pointer Sisters as a group, but you as Ruth Pointer. How do you want to? What do you hope your legacy is, and how you are remembered?
Wow, that's a really good question. I just hope that um, I can be remembered as someone who was fair and enjoyed life and did a few things that might be able to prevent someone coming behind me to avoid. I've been through drug addiction, alcoholism, and failed, I don't know if I should say failed relationships, but relationships that didn't last.
Mhm.
And I've written a book about some parts of my life. And I just hope that people can look at me in a way of a woman who survived and just continued to try to bring joy to the world, in spite of whatever it was I'm going through or was going through. And, having come through those things and been cleaned up my life now 35 years plus, and I'm just grateful for the experience of having this life on this planet. I'm really grateful every day.
What did I'm going to sneak another question in because when you said all that, it triggered one, and that's what advice, what word of encouragement would you give to women specifically and people in general who are battling the things that you overcame 30 some odd years ago? What one bit of advice or encouragement would you give?
I guess I would have to say, be willing to be teachable.
Mm,
You know, no one comes here knowing everything, and no one even leaves here knowing everything. And I find myself listening more than I'm talking.
mm.
I love listening to people, and it's kind of annoying to me when I'm around someone that's just talking all the time instead of just like
Mhm.
listening is good. And so, be willing to be teachable and vulnerable enough to admit when you're wrong, and say I'm sorry, and move on.
Very good. Very good. Well, Ruth, thanks so much for taking the time. This is big for me. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. I hope I get to meet you in person sometime, hug your neck, and thank you in person. And please continue to stay safe. And hopefully, I'll be able to see you at one of your shows down the road. And but in the meantime, please be safe. And if you got any new projects coming up, I'd love to do my part to get the word out. So my door is always open to you. Okay.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a tremendous day and enjoy that tour.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.